Picture this. You walk into a dark kitchen late at night, you flip on the lights, and boom, there it is, a cockroach. It's this universal, shared human experience. But have you ever wondered why they just freeze? I mean, for a split second, it really looks like they're just paralyzed by fear or totally confused, right? Well, the reality is actually way more complex than that.
See, they aren't confused at all. That freezing behavior, it's a highly calculated survival tactic. In the wild, movement attracts predators, so staying completely still literally buys them time. When you step into a room, their bodies, which are covered in these microscopic hairs, sense the absolute tiniest vibrations from your footsteps. And their antennae? They're picking up the sudden shift in the air currents. So while it stands there looking frozen, its tiny little brain is rapidly crunching all this data to pinpoint exactly where you are and calculating the absolute safest escape route to some millimeter-wide crack in the wall.
And this perfectly illustrates just how entirely different their experience of the world is compared to ours. We have a single lens in our eye that gives us sharp, detailed images, right? Well, a cockroach has compound eyes. We're talking thousands of microscopic lenses, so they don't actually see your face or, the color of your shirt. Instead, they get this low-resolution mosaic that is hypersensitive to motion and shifts in light. To them, you're not a human. You're just this massive, terrifying, moving shadow creating all these dangerous air currents. Honestly, their sensory receptors often feel the vibrations of you walking before their eyes even register your shadow.
Moving on to Section 2, Senses and Superpowers, Beyond the Natural World.
Now, out of the roughly 4,600 known cockroach species, you should know most are actually vital nature recyclers. They stay in the forests and never even come near our homes. But the ones that do? They have some seriously incredible biological superpowers. Take their reproduction. A female doesn't just lay single eggs, she packs dozens of them into this hard, hidden, protective capsule called an ootheca. When those young hatch, they look exactly like tiny, pale adults. As they grow, they have to molt, basically shedding their outer shell. And hey, quick side note, if you've ever seen one of those so-called rare white cockroaches, it's not a special species. It's literally just a normal roach that just molted, and you're seeing it in that super brief window before its new exoskeleton hardens and turns brown. Also, because they hide those egg capsules so well, seeing just one roach usually means there's a whole lot more nearby.
So how do we usually deal with them? Bug spray, right? When you spray a roach, it starts running wildly, flips on its back, legs kicking in the air. It totally looks like it's fighting death or in excruciating pain. But actually, the science tells a remarkably different story. Insecticide doesn't kill them instantly. Instead, it attacks the nerve cells that control their muscles. The brain just loses control and the muscles start receiving these continuous, chaotic signals. That's what causes the uncontrollable spasms and that classic flipping over move. And while they absolutely have receptors to sense harm and avoid danger, science currently has absolutely zero proof that they experience conscious, emotional pain the way a mammal would.
The crucial takeaway here is that their biology is just fundamentally alien to ours. If you accidentally step on a cockroach, you're not going to see a pool of red blood. See, humans use hemoglobin in our red blood cells to move oxygen from our lungs around our bodies. Cockroaches, they don't use their blood for oxygen at all. Instead, they breathe through these tiny little side tubes running right along their bodies called spiracles, which deliver air directly to their tissues.
So, instead of red blood, they have a fluid called hemolymph. It's usually clear, maybe a little yellowish or pale green. Its main job isn't oxygen. It's to transport nutrients, hormones, and waste. On top of that, their hard, flexible exoskeleton basically acts like a biological tank. It keeps this fluid safely locked inside. That's exactly why they don't bleed out easily from minor injuries like animals with closed blood vessels do. They are built remarkably tough.
Now, this brings up a pretty hilarious irony. We've used city cockroaches as absolutely filthy, right? And sure, as they crawl through pipes and dumpsters, they definitely pick up bacteria, and we know their molted skins can trigger asthma. But if you were to touch a cockroach and then just watch it for a second, you'd notice something bizarre. It will immediately, and I mean frantically, start cleaning itself.
Yeah, they aren't cleaning themselves because they think humans are gross. They're doing it because they have to obsessively clear dust and oils from their antennae and legs. Remember those sensory superpowers we were just talking about? Their antennae are their primary way of navigating the world. If those get clogged with our skin oils or everyday debris, they lose their ability to smell and sense danger. In a cockroach's world, a dirty antenna is literally a death sentence. Their entire survival depends on keeping those sensors absolutely pristine.
All right, let's look at Section 3, a limitless menu, ultimate opportunists. What exactly fuels this little survival machine?
Well, they are extreme omnivores, and when we say they'll eat anything, we really do mean anything. If normal food scraps aren't lying around, they will happily feast on wood, paper, the glue on the back of cardboard, a bar of soap, leather, and yes, even human hair and fingernails. They pull this off because they have these incredibly strong horizontal scissor-like mandibles that can chew right through the toughest fibers. Now, they aren't aggressive hunters, but they are the ultimate opportunists. If they are truly starving, they won't hesitate to eat dead insects, or honestly, even each other. This ridiculous dietary flexibility is a huge reason for their evolutionary success.
Moving to Section 4, the secret social life, highly communicative.
Now, because you usually only see a single lone roach darting across your floor, it's really easy to just assume they're solitary creatures, just flying solo. But behind your walls, they are actually clustering together in groups of dozens, sometimes hundreds, in these warm, dark, moist places. Why? To avoid their single biggest threat, dehydration. And within these little hidden groups, they are surprisingly communicative. They use pheromones, which are basically invisible chemical trails, to create a hidden map. This signals to the others where to find good food, a safe hiding spot, or warns them to stay away from danger. When two roaches meet, they literally touch antennae to rapidly swap all this information. But here's the craziest part. Their brain, which is literally the size of a grain of rice, allows them to form actual memories. Science has shown they can learn from past experiences, they can link specific smells to food or danger, and they will adapt their behavior based on that. Pretty wild, right?
And finally, Section 5, myths and misconceptions, tackling the legends.
Because of their frankly unbelievable adaptability, they have inspired some pretty wild urban legends. So let's do a quick rapid fire and bust some myths. Myth number 1, they can live forever without food. The reality? They can slow down their metabolism to survive for about a month on an empty stomach, but they will absolutely die of thirst in just about a week. Myth number 2, they are totally impossible to drown. The reality? Oh, they can definitely drown. They just fake their survival brilliantly by locking those breathing spiracles shut and holding their breath for literally tens of minutes. Myth number 3, they're aquatic swimmers. Reality? Not quite. If you drop them in water, they can paddle briefly just to escape, but they are not true aquatic insects. For them, water is an escape route, definitely not a home.
But that brings us to the most famous, most bizarre, and, let's be honest, most unbelievable legend of the entire bunch. Can a cockroach really actually survive without its head? I mean, it sounds like pure science fiction, doesn't it? Well, the biological truth here is just fascinating. The answer is yes, the body absolutely can survive without the head, but definitely not the other way around. Once severed, the head's oxygen supply runs out and it dies in minutes. But the body? The body can survive for days, sometimes even over a week. And here's why. Like we learned earlier, they don't have high blood pressure, so they don't bleed out. And they breathe through those side tubes, the spiracles, completely bypassing their mouths. The nervous system in the body just keeps their basic reflexes going. Now, the body doesn't magically grow a new head or anything. It ultimately just dies of dehydration or starvation, simply because it doesn't have a mouth to eat or drink with anymore.